you want to talk quite a bit about everything that's going on with Dr. Fauci. And you two have had quite the argument going on. I've been studying this quite a bit.
Well, I think that his side says follow the science, but then they don't follow the science. The science has been pretty clear. If you've been vaccinated, you're unlikely to catch the disease and very, very unlikely to spread the disease. We've known that for months. I challenged him 2 months ago, why are you wearing two masks here? Is it theater? And he said, no, what's with this theater? But it turns out when he finally admitted this week that he's no longer going to wear a mask, he said, well, I didn't want people to see me without a mask. I did not want them to be confused. So the science didn't change. He's known for quite a while that you don't need to wear a mask if you're vaccinated. But instead of telling and being honest to the public, he feeds us sort of a lie because he thinks he's, that we're not smart enough to make a rational decisions. So he wants us all to stay in masks. And so he simply tells us something that's not true. But I think people are smarter than that. Look, 85% of the public over 65 has taken the vaccine. Why do you think that is? Because they realize this is a deadly disease for the elderly. And so the elderly have overwhelmingly taken it. The percentages go down a little bit as you get younger, but still a significant number have taken it. And if you look at the numbers nationwide, they're plummeting. So it's all good news, but we still have to take the next step. And that is, our 8th grade kid running track should not be wearing a mask outside. There's no science to support that. It's crazy from the CDC to tell kids to do that. And it really is just a disservice to our children.
Yeah, I thought it was very confusing as well when I watched his interview saying, well, even if you've been vaccinated, in some places you should still wear it, some places not. And he said for himself, though, he's not going to wear it inside. What makes his vaccination any more, I guess you could say, resistant than mine?
Well, and the problem is he's confusing the public. And so you have Nancy Pelosi, who's not really well steeped in science, saying to her members that they're going to have to wear masks until everyone is vaccinated. Well, that's not really the way it works. If you're vaccinated, you're safe. Do you care if the guy next to you is not vaccinated? No. Why should you care? You've been vaccinated. So really, this is sort of this big brotherism, this idea that we're going to be, we need to demand the medical records of everyone that we stand next to, and they're going to have to wear some sort of, insignia or some sort of lapel on their arm to indicate whether they're vaccinated or not. That's a terrible sort of idea and more reminiscent of Eastern Germany than it is America. So I think that people who've been vaccinated need to realize they're safe. The numbers are going down dramatically. And why don't you just leave your neighbor alone, leave your other, people alone that you come in contact with, let them make their own personal medical decisions without, having the busybody nature of government commanding them.
And Senator, you're a doctor as well. What would you like to see Dr. Fauci come out and recommend to the public? What do you think he should be doing right now?
If I were to appoint somebody to that position, I would appoint somebody who starts with the presupposition that we're a free country and that in a free country, individuals make their own risk assessment, and that in the pandemic, not everyone's the same. So for example, under age 25, the chance of dying from COVID is about 1 in a million. Above 65, it's about 1,000 in a million. So it's 1,000-fold more dangerous for people over 65. It's also more dangerous probably above age 40 for people who have an obesity problem, maybe even above 30 for obesity problem. So we should calculate that, and that's the truth. Instead, we just say to everyone, you're all lemmings, do as you're told, everybody wear a mask, everybody get a vaccine. But really, it's a different question, and it's an individual question whether your 12-year-old needs a vaccine versus your 65 or 70-year-old. Without question, the disease is more dangerous than anything the vaccine could do for the elderly or for those who are overweight. The question isn't really so clear with a 12-year-old. And so those decisions should be the parents and shouldn't be mandated by the state.
I realize we only have you for a short time, but I did want to ask you a question on unemployment, if you're open for that. The region that we live in, jobs, there's not a whole lot of jobs to begin with, but when you see help wanted signs in almost every business in our region, that's a big red flag. What are we going to do to get people back to work?
You can't have the government pay a wage for people not to work that is greater than the wage that we get for working. So for much of the pandemic, the wage for not working that the government would give you through unemployment was about $50,000 a year. So you can see there's a great disincentive for anybody making less than 50 to work. Now it's come down a little bit, but it's still about $35,000 a year the government will pay you. It varies from state to state a little bit, but $35,000 a year. So under that, people won't work. And so you've seen these scenes on the internet where there's a sign like at a fast food restaurant that says, please be patient with us. There's only 2 of us here today. We can't find anybody to work. That's happening across the country. So it's not a lack of jobs. It's too much government incentive not to work, but that makes unemployment institutional. And this is something that, you know, while it seems like you're big hearted to want to give people more money, the more money you give them, the less likely we are to get work. And ultimately, we all need to work. Work is actually a reward, not a punishment. No matter what your job is, if you do it well, that's how we all get reward in life by working hard and feeling good about our work. And so I hope we can get back to normalcy very soon. And there's lots of jobs out there. There was, I think, 1 million jobs open last month and only 200,000 people signed up for them. So there's more jobs open than people are signing up. And that will continue until the government lessens the unemployment benefit.
And have there been any proposals to do that just yet? Lessen the proposal or lessen the unemployment?
Yeah, it was supposed to expire long ago. What they've done is extended it each time. The last time they extended it, this was done by Congress, not without my consent, but they extended it at, I think, at $300. That's $300 plus the average the state gives you, $300. So it's about $600 a week. And I mean, yeah, about $600 to $700 a week. But they do keep extending it. There'll be another vote. I think it expires in September. So we got another 3 or 4 months of this, which won't be good for the economy.
No, and that's what a lot of people are worried about is the long-term effects of this and people not working. I'm not sure how much longer we have you, but I do appreciate you joining us and talking about it this morning.